My first lecture with you? Yes, my name is Shivarpit Kothari and I'll take up topics of economic and social geography with you. So we'll have discussions on topics related to agriculture, energy resources and industries. Okay. The topics that I'm going to take up, they will be part of General Studies Paper 1 Mains Examination and also General Studies Paper 3 Mains Examination. Okay. So if you look at questions on agriculture, agriculture related questions can be in paper 1, they can be in paper 3 as well. This year we had a question on green revolution in paper 1. Okay. Last year there was a question on wind energy in paper 1. Normally, if a question on agriculture comes on green revolution, that is generally in paper 1. If a question is related to irrigation, agriculture market or related to MSP, that will be in paper 3. Okay, energy, there is no such bifurcation. We can have energy related questions in any of these two papers. Okay. The topics that I'm going to take up in class, these topics will largely be contemporary in nature. Most of the discussions that we would have in class will be from the newspapers and magazines. Okay, and the topics that I'm going to take up, you won't find them as it is in the standard books. Okay. For a basic reference, you can refer to the NCERT books. You can refer to the NCERT books, class 11th and class 12th. Okay. If you look at the books that are part of class 11 syllabus, they deal with the physical geography. That means fundamentals of geography and the India physical and environment. Both of these will deal with physical geography. The topics of physical geography are quite static in nature. That means if you look at the questions in the mains examination, a good number of questions you should be able to answer with the NCERT books itself. Okay. Class 12th will also have two books, that is geography or the economic and social geography of the world and India, people and economy. Both of these books, they are going to deal with the topics of economic geography, social geography, which are very much dynamic in nature. That means if you look at the questions on energy resources, let's say, if I look at the previous year's questions on energy resources, a good number of questions have been on renewable energy. But when the books NCERTs were published long back, that was a time when renewable energy was in the very young stage. That was a time when you had very limited amount of India's energy generated from renewables. So you don't have much of content on renewable energy in the NCERTs. Or in prelims examination, just as we have had a question last year or last year on methane hydrates, there's a topic that you won't find in the NCERTs. Okay? So when you look at industries, if you look at industries again, you won't have much relevant information related to the industries, only the basic concepts you can go through. Same ways, population geography. If I look at NCERTs, they are going to use the 2001 census data. By the time you are going to write the examination, a new census may be out. So point is that when you look at these books, they will be having some information which is a bit old. So you can refer to these books only for some concepts and definitions. Okay? I want to know what is crude birth rate. I want to know what is TFR. I want to know what is MMR. In that case, I will refer to these books for some general concepts and definitions. Okay? Otherwise, you cannot expect a direct question from the NCERTs. Other than this, you will also refer to G.C. Leong. I guess Manocha sir must have told you about this. Oh, G.C. Leong you are going to read. Now the book is divided into two sections. Okay? Part 1 is going to be the topic of landforms. Part 2 will be about biomes. Rizwan sir, the other teacher for geography, is going to take up the topics related to landforms, and Vaishali ma'am, who teaches environment, will be taking up the second part, that is biomes wala topic. Now G.C. Leong is an important book, and though book is also very old, published way back in 1970s, but in prelims, a number of times we have seen questions that have been directly picked up from G.C. Leong. So you will have to be thorough with this book if you are reading it. Okay? But see, a number of topics that you will have here in G.C. Leong, they will overlap with the NCERTs. So please, one topic has to be read only from one source. You identify what is the best source. According to me, my personal opinion is it is GC Leong, which is much more correct, much more lucid in terms of its information. So I would prefer GC Leong, but it depends on you people. Okay? It is your choice. But one topic, if you are reading landforms from GC Leong, you will not read it from NCERTs. It has to be only from one source. Okay, then you will also be given a book from the institute, a printed material. Like when you look at this yellow book, it comes with a yellow cover. That is why we call it a yellow book here. Now, this is not authored by anybody. Basically, we have picked up the best materials from different sources. So we will have some information from NCERT, some information from GC Leong, some information from newspapers or government websites. So basically, yellow book is basically a book which has been which can be called as a compilation. Okay, you can call it as a compilation of different sources. Okay, you can refer to yellow book for those topics that you don't find in GC Leong or in NCERT, because it is updated every year. So you will have some of the current topics as well, which you won't find in the rest of the two books. Okay, then the most important part of a preparation has to be the newspapers. The most important part of a preparation will be newspapers. See, newspaper is something that you cannot afford to miss. More than 60% of the questions in paper 2 and paper 3, you cannot answer without the knowledge of the current affairs. And there's no better source of current affairs than the newspapers. See, you will have to read the newspapers, and when you're reading the newspapers, you make it sure that you are not reading the newspapers for leisure. Newspaper is to be read for a purpose. Now, there are a number of news items that may be very attractive to you, but they don't have any relevance for the examination. So, if you're reading it, you are only wasting your time. You are reading it for leisure only. So, try to understand what are the important topics, what are those news items, what are those articles which you can find relevance, for which you can find relevance in your examination. Because initially, each one of you is going to struggle with the newspapers. Initially, you will not only take more time than required, but also initially you will read up a number of articles which you think are important but which otherwise are not. But eventually, in a matter of 1.5 months, every one of you is going to learn this process. You will learn the eye of picking up the right articles or right news items. Okay. Now, if suppose I read the newspaper today, if I read the newspaper today and after 5 days you ask me about the news items that I read today, I won't be able to recollect. See, examination here is very tough, and the toughness is not because of the toughness of syllabus. This ICSE की 10th की book है. These two are class 11-12 books. So basically, we are not teaching you any rocket science here. It's all very easy. Just that you have to read a number of things. You will have to remember those things. You will have to reproduce that during the time of examination. So basically, it is a vastness of the syllabus that makes the examination tough. Otherwise, the syllabus itself is not tough. So if you read the newspapers for the entire year and you don't make the notes, you won't be able to recollect anything. So it's as good as reading nothing. So if you have read the newspapers, I would advise you that you please make the notes from the newspapers as well. If you are making the notes, a number of things are going to help you in that. One, when you are writing something, a lot more is getting processed into your mind. That means you will be able to retain it for a longer period of time. Second, revision becomes easy. Third, when you're writing it, then in that case you are going to learn a number of new words. You will read a newspaper, you will learn a number of new sentences as well. For example, I have read the newspaper today. I read an article on India-Pakistan, let's say. Okay? The person who has written the article must be an expert on this particular topic. Now, he has concluded that article very beautifully. What I do is, I pick up the conclusion, write it on my notebook. Now, if I by heart it during the time of examination, what is going to happen is that if a question comes on India-Pakistan wherein this conclusion is relevant, I can just copy paste that into my examination paper. And then not only I'm going to save time, but the conclusion will also be much more effective than I could have thought and written at the time of examination. So point is that if you are reading the newspapers, you are making the notes, you are learning a number of new sentences, you are going to enrich your vocabulary. Plus, it would help you in the comprehension part of CSAT paper as well. Now, today what happens is most of us, we falter with the spellings. The reason being that we are very much used to the auto correction in the laptops and the mobile phones. So we type 3-4 words and 3-4 alphabets, so automatically the entire word comes up. So when we start writing it actually, then in that case you are going to notice that a number of spellings that you knew earlier, you are forgetting those. So it will help you in enriching your vocabulary, it will help you in developing an answer writing. Then when you are making the notes, I would again advise you, please don't make the notes date wise, make it topic wise. Suppose I have, let's say this is a sheet of paper, I read today's newspaper, it is 17th, 18th April, then 17th April ko all the news items in one page of paper. Then 18th April, all the news items in 1 or 2 sheets of paper and so on. Now, if I have done this kind of work, nothing wrong with that. But it would be very difficult for me to revise during the time of examination. Now, what is going to happen is, what if I make the notes not date-wise but topic-wise? That is, I have one notebook or one sheet of paper, let's say for geography and environment, all the news items here. Then another notebook, let's say for economics, another notebook, let's say for polity. If I have done this kind of work, then it becomes very easy for me to revise before the examination. Otherwise, agar date wise bana, then in that case, if I have to appear for, let's say, mains paper 3 next day, I will first spend a lot of time in segregating the topics. What are the topics which are part of paper 3? So in order to help you in revising, if you can make the notes topic wise, that would be much better. Okay. Then the question is, what is the point of making notes when a number of news magazines are readily available in the market? You will also be given the magazines to you by the institute with the name recitals. See, magazine that is given to you is not given to you as a substitute for the newspaper. It is basically given to you to complement and supplement your newspaper reading effort. That means, today when I am new to this preparation, I do not know what all articles are important. What if I miss some of those articles? What if I am not able to read the newspaper for a particular days? Let's say I have fallen ill, I cannot revisit the newspaper. If in those days there were some important news items, I would find that in the monthly magazine. Okay? If I am going to miss some article today which I don't think is important but which otherwise is, you will find that in the monthly magazine. So monthly magazine is given to you to complement and supplement your newspaper reading effort. Okay? So it is not a substitute for newspaper. Newspaper carries no alternative at present. So you will read the newspapers, and if possible, my suggestion is please make the notes from the newspapers and revise those notes as well. Then most of you would be having the Hindu as your primary newspaper. Okay? If you are having the Hindu as a primary newspaper, please read certain sections from Indian Express as well. Every day, Monday to Saturday, there is a page titled as explained page, like we have text and context in the Hindu. Same ways, there is a page titled as explained in the Indian Express. So current events are explained in simple question and answer format. Okay? Then on Mondays, generally, in the op-ed page, that is opposite to the editorial, there are articles by Dr. Ashok Gulati. Okay? When it comes to agriculture marketing in India, he is one of the last words. And if you are very thorough with his articles, the questions on agriculture, that is paper 3 wale questions, they will be easy for you. Okay? Most of the questions can be traced back to his articles. So every Mondays there is a column written by Dr. Ashok Gulati. Then Express mein we don't have a particular date, but there are articles by Harish Damodaran. So you can go through those articles as well. He generally writes on agriculture economics. Okay? So explained page if you can go through, and other than this you can go through the articles of Dr. Ashok Gulati and also the articles that are by Harish Damodaran. Okay? If Express is your primary newspaper, then in that case you will read text and context page from the Hindu, and you will also read FAQ section every Sunday from the Hindu. Okay? Again the same concept, question and answer format. Okay. Then other than this, sir must have told you the atlas as well. So if you are reading the newspapers, you find a place which is repeatedly in news, you can mark it in the atlas itself and why it is important. Okay. Other than this, you can read some magazines as well. You say you can go through the magazines like, for example, Kurukshetra, or you can go through Yojana. Now these are monthly magazines released by the government departments. If you look at these magazines, For my topics at least, Kurukshetra will be more important because it is a magazine on rural affairs. Okay, so agriculture related topics are very often to be found in Kurukshetra magazine. If you don't find time to read the Kurukshetra and Yojana, you can also refer to the summary. You have access to the Vajiram portal. In the portal, summary of Kurukshetra and Yojana is mentioned. Okay, so even if you read the summary, that is more than enough for you. Then you can also refer to Down to Earth. There's a magazine on environment. You can refer to this magazine, Down to Earth. But see, do not start reading it as of now. Wait for some time. After 2 months, you may start reading this Down to Earth magazine. The reason being, this magazine is not to be read cover to cover. Only some relevant sections that are important for the examination, you can read it from Down to Earth. Okay. Now, when you look at this magazine Down to Earth, after 2 months of time, you will get to know what all articles are important, what are not. In that case, it would help you in identifying it. So if you start reading today, you won't be able to judge it. Okay, so after 2 months, once you are able to understand the syllabus in a better manner, you can start reading the magazine. Only selective articles are to be read here. It would also help you in writing the mains answers. So this would be the book list, but largely the topics that we are going to discuss will be from newspapers and magazines. Okay. Then the topics that we are going to discuss here in class, these topics I won't be able to give you write-up. That means whatever is being spoken in the class cannot be given the form of write-up. See, if I am, let's say, discussing a topic with you today, I will discuss, let's say, topic for 45 minutes. Then after 45 minutes, I will give you a very brief summary. That means if I have spoken for 45 minutes, I will give you write-up only for not more than 10 minutes. Okay. Now, it is again a request from my side, if you can please make running notes. Try noting down as I speak. Okay. So that if you only listen and do not write anything, then when you go back home, you would have nothing to revise. So try noting down as I speak. If you find the speed fast enough, you interrupt me in the class itself, and then I will try to slow down the speed. Okay. But you please make running notes, because everything that is spoken cannot be given in the form of written form. Okay. Then suppose I'm taking up a topic in class. I will take up a topic. If you have any question, then in that case, please write it down in a notebook. Once the topic is over, once the write-up is finished, then in that case, you will ask me the question. Okay, and please pertain to the topic. Let's say, suppose I'm starting with agriculture today. You will have a number of questions related to agriculture in mind, but that may not be the topic of the day. Suppose I have taken up topic of fertilizers today, and if you ask me a question on minimum support prices, then in that case, I may not answer that question today. Let me come to that topic of minimum support prices. All of your questions will be automatically answered. If not, then any question related to this topic of MSP is very much welcome. Then, other than this, if I have done a topic in the class, then in that case, every article related to the topic, you should be able to understand. Agar aaj MSP class mein ho gaya, then in that case, any topic or any article related to MSP in the newspapers, you should be able to understand each and every word. If not, then you bring that article to me in the class itself. We'll discuss that as well. Okay. So my objective is that you should be able to understand each and every word of the newspaper related to the topics that I have done in the class. Okay. Then, other than this, after I finish 4 or 5 lectures with you, okay, we will also discuss some of the questions in class. And see, it is your responsibility that you bring down the questions to me. Questions of the previous years. Okay. So whatever mains previous year's questions have been there, after 4 or 5 lectures are over, once you are done with a significant part of a syllabus, then you can bring all those questions. We'll discuss that in the class. Okay. It is no point if you are just reading and you are not looking at the previous year's questions. And at present, it is also not the time to write the answers. Okay. Be familiar with the syllabus. Take some time, and then you can start the process of answer writing. And again, write down the questions that have been asked in the previous years, because they have been considered as a standard questions. Many questions you may find in the market, they may not be as appropriate. Okay. Chalo. Any questions if you have before we start with the topic? Adarsh, I talked about article by Harish Damodara, and every Monday article by Dr. Ashok Gulati. No, Abhishek Sharma, please do not do that. You will have to read the newspapers. एनालिस्ट में बहुत we discuss only I guess 4 or 5 topics. अभी see, if suppose I have done a topic related to fertilizers, ठीक है, अभी आज ही की न्यूज़ थी, suppose I have done fertilizers with you, we have discussed about nano urea. अभी recently, अभी today itself, the news said that nano urea plus has been released. So you can add it along with that this is notified by the government, and instead of 4% nitrogen, it has 16% nitrogen. That's it. Okay. So you will make the detailed notes, and if you think that there is a topic that has been done in class and there is a, let's say some current affairs is added to this, wherein some new information is provided to you, add it along with your notes itself. Okay. We'll discuss how it is to be done. We'll discuss most of the current affairs in the class. जो आज तक के हो गए, that we are going to discuss in the class itself. ठीक है. चलो. We'll start with the topic. See, we'll first start with agriculture. Other the front desk in the institute is going to inform you about that. Take the sources that you can refer for option subject. Similarly, exactly everything cannot be copied, but that would be a better idea if you make it point wise. So listen now. We'll have a discussion first on the importance of agriculture. Okay. This will never be a direct question. Nobody is going to ask you what is the importance of agriculture in India in the examination. But we will discuss a number of topics which would help you in answering the prelims and the mains questions. Okay. It is very often said that India is an agricultural economy. Agriculture is the backbone of the economy. It is said that we are a farmers country. Bharat किसानों का देश है. Now, why do we say so? The simple reason being that agriculture impacts each and every aspect of Indian life. Whether it is environment, or it is the society, or it is the economy, every aspect of Indian life is influenced by agriculture. For example, if I look at the importance of agriculture, what I'm going to find is agriculture at present is the largest employer. That means maximum of the people in the country, they find employment in the agriculture sector. And according to government, around 45 to 46% of the people are directly dependent on agriculture. Okay, so 45 point something, that is close to 46% of people in India at present are directly dependent on agriculture. So this is the employment that is directly generated. Suppose if I look at a term farmer. Now, who can be called as a farmer? Is there a definition of a farmer? Because see, as such, the government of India does not define the word farmer. Different agencies or organizations, they will have their own definitions. If suppose I look at this term farmer, in 2004, the government of India came up with a commission that was headed by Dr. M.S. Swaminathan. It was known as the National Commission of Farmers. This National Commission of Farmers, which was headed by Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, in its recommendation, also tried to define the word farmer. Now, Dr. Swaminathan said that farmer would include one, a person who owns an arable land and who is also cultivating that piece of land. That means if I have a land which is fit for cultivation and I'm also cultivating that piece of land, I can be called as a farmer. Okay, so anybody who has a arable land and who is also cultivating that piece of land can be called as a farmer. One. Second, he says the word farmer will also include the tenant farmers. That means I am a person who does not have a land of his own. Okay, you are a person who has an arable land. I take land from you and I start cultivating that piece of land, and in lieu of that I give you some kind of yearly or half yearly or monthly rent. That means land is not belonging to me, it belongs to somebody else, but I have taken that land on rent. I am a tenant farmer. Okay? So anybody who is tilling somebody else's land and who is going to pay the rent to the landowner is a tenant farmer. The word farmer, according to Dr. Swaminathan, would also include the sharecroppers. That means, suppose I don't have a land of mine, you are the landowner. I have taken the land from you and I am cultivating that piece of land. But I'm not giving you any kind of rent in cash. I'm basically sharing my produce with you. Suppose I've harvested 1000 tons of rice, then 600 tons I'm going to give it to you and 400 tons I'm going to keep with myself. So basically we are sharing the produce. So I'm a sharecropper. Okay, so the word farmer is also going to include the term sharecroppers. People who are tilling somebody else's land and paying the amount to the landowner in kind. That is, they're sharing the produce with the landowner. The word farmer, according to Dr. Swaminathan, will also include landless agriculture workers. That means, I am a person who does not have a land of his own. You are the landowner and you are also cultivating your piece of land. Okay? But you cannot perform all the operations by yourself. What you have done is, you have hired me and I am being hired for application of fertilizers, let's say. So as you've hired me, I will apply the fertilizers in your field and by the end of the day, you pay me a daily wage. So Dr. Swaminathan says, the people who are earning something as a daily wage earners from agriculture, they will also be included under this term farmer. Okay? So the word farmer, according to Dr. Swaminathan, also includes the landless agriculture workers. Then, what if I don't have a land of mine? What if I I'm not cultivating anybody's land? But what if I purchase some bee boxes? Okay, you are a person who you are cultivating mustard. I purchase some bee boxes and I keep my bee boxes in your mustard field. What is the benefit for you? The benefit for you is when honeybees are going to sit from one flower to another flower, they are going to help in pollination. Okay? So in the hind legs of the honeybees, the pollens will be attached, and once it sits from one to another flower, then it's going to basically fertilize the female parts of the other flowers as well. So for you, the benefit is that because of pollination, your yield is going to increase. And I, who owns those bee boxes, will sell the honeybee, or sorry, will sell the bee wax or will sell the honey into the market. And then in that case, I'm going to generate some revenue for myself. So I don't have a land, I'm not a landless agriculture worker, I'm not a sharecropper, I'm not a tenant farmer. But still, I will be called as a farmer because I'm practicing allied agricultural activity. So the word farmer will also include the dairy farmers, the people who are practicing apiculture, people who are practicing fisheries. The 2020 may, if you know, that Kisan credit card that was given to the farmers is now also given to the people who are fishermen. So basically, people who practice fisheries will also be part of the word farmer. Okay. So if you look at the word farmer, we have a very broad definition that is given by Dr. M.S. Swaminathan. And as of now, the government of India says 46% of the people in the country, they belong to this category of farmers, people who are directly dependent on agriculture. Okay, people who are directly dependent on agriculture. Then, though 46% of the people are directly dependent on agriculture, but agriculture contributes only around 17% to the national GDP. Okay, the contribution of agriculture to the national GDP is just around 17%. Now, when we say that agriculture contributes only 17% to the national GDP, then can I say that it is not as important in terms of economics? Then why are we saying that agriculture is the backbone of Indian economy? Yes, it contributes very limited to the national GDP, but each and every economic indicator of India is influenced by agriculture. You pick up any economic indicator and you'll notice how that indicator is largely influenced by the agriculture. Understand this, please. We'll discuss some of the economic indicators here. Let's say I talk about this term fiscal deficit. Let's say I talk about this term fiscal deficit. In crude terms, in layman terms, fiscal deficit would occur if your expenditures are more than your revenue. That means I'm a person, let's say, who earns my income is, let's say, 100 rupees a month. This is my income. Take it. Now, my income is 100, but if I look at my expenditure is 150 rupees a month. This is my income, but this is my expenditure. How can I spend 150 when I'm earning just 100 rupees? That means I will have to borrow 50 rupees from somebody. That 50 rupees that I'm borrowing will be my fiscal deficit. Take it. In India, we have a high fiscal deficit, and if you read the budget this year, the government also talks about fiscal consolidation, that we need to bring this down. That means our expenditures are as much as 47,000 crores. But income generated or revenue generated by the government is much less. So we have a high fiscal deficit. Now, when you look at this high fiscal deficit, now when we say we have a very high expenditure, where is the government spending the amount? Now, when the government is spending the amount, government may be spending the amount in terms of development of infrastructure. Let's say, we will say that government has a good amount of capital expenditure, where government spends some amount in, let's say, development of highways, let's say development of bullet trains, let's say development of airports. Ye capital expenditure hai. But a good part of our income or good part of our expenditure goes on the non-capital expenditure. That means largely the salaries that are drawn by people who are working government departments, the pensions that are given to the retired personnel. The government spends a very large amount on the subsidies. And because of the very high subsidies that we are offering, we have a very high expenditure. And when it comes to the subsidies, maximum of the subsidies, they go to food and agriculture. Maximum subsidies, they go to food and agriculture. Now, understand this food subsidy. How is this linked to agriculture? Because we know that Government of India is providing the rations to the people. Earlier it was given at a subsidized rate. Now the government says it would be given completely free of cost. Okay? They say, if you have heard about Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. Under this Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, Government of India is providing 5 kg of rice or wheat to a person, 25 kgs of rice and wheat to a family of 5, completely free of cost. If ration is given, let's say rice is given completely free of cost. Now, earlier, suppose I look at the time before 2022, rice was given at the rate of 3 rupees a kg, wheat was given at a rate of 2 rupees a kg, and this is now given at no cost. When rice was given at 3 rupees, even then, can I say cost of cultivation, cost of distribution of rice cannot be as low as 3 rupees? If I look at the economic cost of grains, economic cost of grains is approximately 38 rupees a kg for rice. It is approximately 27 rupees a kg for wheat. That means the rice that is being given to people at no cost, this is the rice that is costing the government 38 rupees. Wheat that is given to the people at no cost, it is costing the government around 27 rupees. So on every kg of rice that is being sold under the public distribution system, government is losing 38 rupees. On every kg of wheat that is being sold under PDS, government is losing 27 rupees. Now, what is the reason for this very high food subsidy? Why is the government providing rice and wheat to the people completely free of cost? Now, can I say that one of the reasons can be food security? There are a number of people in the country who would not be able to afford rice and wheat at this particular rate. And the government provides them with the subsidized rations or now free rations so that they should be able to meet their hunger requirements. Now, when you look at the rice and wheat total food subsidy, last year government spent more than 2.50 lakh crore just on the food subsidy. 2.50 lakh crore was spent just on the food subsidy by the government. Now, when we look at the reasons for this food subsidy, this is not the only reason. That is, ensuring food security of the nation is not the only reason. We have a component of farmers' welfare into this as well. जैसे if suppose I am a farmer who is cultivating a crop. Suppose total rice cultivated in India, let's say total production in India is 150 kg. Okay? Demand for that rice is, let's say, 100 kg. Supply is 150 kg, demand is 100 kg. If supply is high or supply is less or very high and demand is very less, what is going to happen to price? Price is going to fall. If suppose the demand is 100 and supply is 150, the price falls. And if the price falls, who is going to face the problem? The farmers are going to face the problem. So what does the government do is, in order to maintain a good price, the government is going to procure, let's say, 50 kg of rice from the farmers. Okay? So 50 kg of rice from the farmers will be procured by the government. Now, when the government procures 50 kg of rice, as a result of which the demand and supply they are going to match, and then this farmer are going to get a better price. Now, when this 50 kg will be purchased, it will be purchased by the government at a price known as minimum support price that we are going to discuss later on. Now, if you have procured 50 kg of grains, what will you do with this 50 kg? You will have to utilize it. Government ne kya kiya? Government has stored some amount of grains. That is a buffer stock. Government says it is going to come in handy during the time of an emergency. Still we are left with 40 kg. What will the government do? So government will use this rice and give it to the people at completely free of cost or at a subsidized rate. So objective is not only to ensure food security, but also if the government does not procure, then in that case the farmers are not going to get a correct price for the produce. Giving an example here, जैसे 2020 में the government of India started with this Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. Okay? And in 2020, in this Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, when it was started, government said that we are going to give not 5 kg of grains to a person, not 25 kg of grains to a family of 5, but instead additional 25 kgs will also be given. That is, the government said that right now a family of 5 gets 25 kg of grains. And that was up till 2022 given at 3 rupees a kg. That means to purchase 25 kg of wheat, a family was spending 50 rupees. Okay. Government said, other than this 25 kg that was given to at 3 rupees, we will give you an additional 25 kg completely free of cost. That means you will get 50 kgs at the rate of just 50 rupees. That means this one at 2 or 3 rupees a kg and this one 25 kg completely free of cost. Reason kya tha? Government said it is COVID pandemic. Government ne bola that this is the time of pandemic. A good number of people, they have lost the earning members of their family. Good number of people, they have lost their jobs and they have come to their hometown. So these people, they don't have purchasing power. 5 kgs will not be enough for a person. So we will give additional 5 kgs to a person or 25 kgs to a family. Very well justified. Then 2022 May, Government of India said that the economy is back to track. The people, they have returned to their own places for work. The economy has recovered and we have returned to the pre-pandemic levels. So government said we are going to discontinue with this extra 25 kg that was given to people completely free of cost. Okay? So government said we will discontinue with this. Instead, we will give only 25 kg and instead of giving it 3 rupees, we'll give it at no cost so that people do not retaliate. People do not get angry with this. Now, when you look deeper, you will find that COVID pandemic was not the reason for the extra 25 kg that the government gave. And the economic recovery was also not the reason why the government did away with this particular benefit that was given to the government. Suppose this was the production and this was the demand. 50 kg was surplus. Government was using this 50 kg and giving it to the people. What if the production increases to 200 kg? If production is 200 kg and the government still procures only 50 kg, what is going to happen? Now still the price will be less because still there will be a surplus of 50 kg. So government says, okay, we will have to procure another 50 kg of grains. Now if the government has procured 100 kg, what will the government do with this 100 kg? 50 kg you are utilizing for buffer stock for giving it to the people. So after 2018, what we found was that agriculture production started increasing, and by 2020, we had a very huge stock of rice with us. We had a huge stock of wheat with us. So government 2018, when the stock was very high, government came up with the policy where the government said, you can convert the rotten food grains into the ethanol, or you can convert it into biofuel. It was never ever allowed in the history of India to convert the food grains into ethanol. So government for the first time in the history said that you can use this food grains for production of ethanol, so that some of the grains are offloaded. Second, still there was a surplus. So government said it is better that instead of wasting this food grain which is rotting in the godowns, it is better that we provide it to the people for free, so that an additional benefit can be given to the people, and farmers also are very comfortable. So government started with this Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. Then what happened was 2022 May, government said that we will discontinue with the scheme. And again, the reason was not the economic recovery, reason was something else. 2022 May, Russia attacks Ukraine. And when Russia attacks Ukraine, then there were problems created related to wheat supplies in the international market, because Russia is a major supplier of wheat. If you've heard about the Eurasian grassland, which are known as steppes, steppes are considered as the bread baskets of the world. They are very important for commercial wheat cultivation. And Russia is a major supplier of wheat to the world. When we had this Russia attacking Ukraine, countries imposed sanctions on Russia, and as a result of which the supply of wheat in the international market was very limited. Now suppose 200 kg of wheat is being produced, demand for wheat in India is just 100 kg. If I am a person who is into exports of wheat, in the world, let's say 500 kg of wheat was demanded, which was supplied by Russia. When Russia did not supply this 500 kg of wheat, can I say that demand in the international market was very high and supply was very limited? As a result, the price of wheat in the international market also increased by a large amount. As the price increased by a large amount, good number of exporters in India, they found a lot of profit in exporting wheat out of the country. So 100 kg was a demand in India, but good amount of demand was created in the international market as well. So a lot of wheat from India started moving out of the country. And then the government realized if all the wheat starts moving out of India, then there will be a shortage created in the country, and we would not be able to fulfill the requirements of the people, and the price is also going to increase in the domestic market. Then in 2022 May, the government of India banned the exports of wheat, which continues even till date. Even today, the government says that you cannot export wheat out of the country because we may face shortages. So, if shortage hogi wheat ki, when you don't have enough of stocks, can you continue with this scheme? No. Then, but the shortage was created only for wheat. Why did the government not also provide rice to the people? You would have provided rice instead of wheat. But see, when you look at rice cultivation in the country to a large extent depends on the amount of rainfall. Because number of areas that cultivate rice, they will cultivate it without irrigation. जो eastern part है ना, let's say eastern UP, Bihar, Bengal, northeast Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, good part of this belt is cultivating rice without irrigation. Now 2022, though the monsoon was normal, 2022 mein monsoon was normal, the rainfall was good, but eastern part of the country witnessed droughts. There was very less rainfall in the areas of eastern UP, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Bengal and northeastern India. And as a result of which rice production in the country also started declining. And the government said if you have less of rice production, then in that case you won't be able to continue with the scheme. So government did away with this extra 25 kg that was given to the people, and just that so that the people are not angry, government said instead of 3 rupees we will give it to you at completely free of cost. So point is that when you are looking at the food security, when you're looking at this food subsidy, it is not just because of the welfare of the people in order to ensure food security of the nation. The component of the farmer's welfare is also important. Or for example, adding to this, I'm saying that with every kg of rice, With every kg of rice that is being sold to the people under PDS, government loses 38 rupees. For every kg of wheat, government loses 27 rupees. Achha, if I look at this scheme that was started itself in 2013, National Food Security Act, 2013 mein, the total cost of rice, economic cost of rice was 26 rupees a kg. Economic cost of wheat was 19 rupees a kg. And then it was given to people at 3 rupees and 2 rupees. What was the subsidy offered by government on every kg of rice then? 23 rupees. On every kg of wheat, 17 rupees. Now what is the subsidy today? 38 rupees for rice and 27 rupees for wheat. Look at the increase in the subsidy burden on the government. Now, why has this increased to 38 or this increased to 27? ये क्यों बढ़ रहा है? This price is constant or it has declined, but why is this price increasing? Because as the cost of cultivation increases, government will have to pay a greater amount to the farmer. Government will have to increase the minimum support price every year, the rate at which government is going to procure, so that the farmers get a decent profit over and above the cost of cultivation. So that at least 50% profit can be given to farmers over the cost of cultivation. Government keeps on increasing the MSP. And as the MSP increases, the economic cost of grains will also go up. But on the other hand, there are political compulsions, jiski wajah se, when the Act, National Food Security Act came up, it said that abhi we are going to provide it 3 rupees. Every 3 years this has to be revised. But it was not revised for long, and then now it has been brought down to 0. Agar abhi 0 hai, then in that case, no government will have the guts to again increase it to 5 or 6 rupees a kg. So point I'm trying to tell you is that when you look at this food subsidy, we have a very high food subsidy burden, which is one of the reasons for the high fiscal deficit. And yahan par it is not just the food security of the nation, but also the welfare of the farmers. This is how it is linked to agriculture. So agriculture contributing to the high fiscal deficit. Or for example, after the food subsidy, maximum of the subsidies, they go to the fertilizer sector. Maximum subsidies, they go to fertilizer sector. Now understand. Farmers in India would need fertilizers, but the farmers that do not have the purchasing power to purchase it. Like, suppose I look at the fertilizer subsidy. 2021-2022, total fertilizer subsidy was approximately 1 lakh crore. That is, from April 21 to March 2022, the total fertilizer subsidy was 1 lakh crore. 2022 to 2023, it was approximately 2.50 lakh crore. It was approximately 2.50 lakh crore. Now the question is, when you look at the fertilizer subsidy, it was very high. Why did the fertilizer subsidy increase by almost 2.5 times in just 1 year? And this year it has also come down, though the exact figures are still not available, but it has also come down this particular year. So why did the fertilizer subsidy from 1 lakh crore jump to 2.50 lakh crore in just 1 year period? Russia was the exporter of? Russia was the major market for Indian fertilizer companies. Okay. I'm sorry? Farmers using more fertilizer. So government increase the subsidy burden. Okay, subsidy on the fertilizers. Because listen please. When you look at the fertilizers, we find that maximum of the fertilizer that is used in India is urea. Okay? Urea is the fertilizer that we are using in largest quantity. Urea is a nitrogenous fertilizer, jisko we'll discuss later on. But of the total urea that we are using, 80% of the urea, it is produced domestically. That means approximately 75 to 80% of urea that we are using in the country, it is domestically produced. But when we produce urea, in that case, the major raw material for making urea, it is natural gas. Okay, so that means natural gas is the major raw material from which we are going to make ammonia, from which the fertilizer like urea will be made. Achha. When you look at the natural gas, we have some amount of natural gas in India. Gujarat mein hai, Rajasthan mein hai, Andhra Pradesh mein hai, Tamil Nadu mein hai, Upper Assam mein hai, we have some amount of natural gas. But almost 45% of our natural gas requirements are met through the imports. And when you look at the international market, Russia is a major supplier of natural gas in the world. When we had the Russia-Ukraine crisis, when Russia attacked Ukraine, countries of Western Europe, they imposed sanctions on Russia. And as a matter of retaliation, Russia limits the supply of natural gas to the Western European countries. As a result of which shortage of natural gas got created, demand was very high and the price of natural gas increased. And because we are importing natural gas from other areas of the world, then when the imports become very costly, even producing the fertilizer in the country becomes very high. So fertilizer cost increases, but the farmers that don't have enough of income to pay this additional price. So government said we are going to increase our fertilizer subsidy so that the burden is not shifted to the farmers. So government subsidy burden increases automatically. Not only we are using urea, but after urea, one of the most important fertilizers that are being used by farmers is diammonium phosphate. And Russia is also the major supplier of phosphoric acid. And when we get phosphoric acid from Russia, it becomes very costly, and as a result of which price of DAP and other phosphatic fertilizer also increases. So government ne bola that we are going to increase the subsidy on DAP as well. This is diammonium phosphate ka bag. It used to cost around 2,400 rupees. It was given to the farmers at the rate of 1,200 rupees. This was the cost of imports and production. This was the price at which it was given to the farmers. That means subsidy given was 1,200 rupees. Itni subsidy thi on a bag of diammonium phosphate. But then with the Russia-Ukraine crisis, when phosphoric acid becomes very costly, then in that case, this price increases to around 3,600 rupees something, more than 3,600 rupees. And the government said, the farmers will now have to pay 2,400 rupees, for which there is no income with the farmers to pay such a high price. Moreover, if a farmer has a high input cost, can I say if I am producing at 100 rupees, I may sell at 120. But if I am producing at 150, I will sell at 170. In that case, ultimately the burden will shift onto the consumers. Consumers will have to pay a high price, inflation will set in. So government says, okay, we will absorb the additional cost, and now fertilizer will be given to the farmers at 1,350 rupees. That means around 2,500 rupees was the subsidy that was given by the government on a bag of DAP. Are you getting my point? So the subsidy burden of fertilizer increased to a very high amount because of Russia-Ukraine crisis. But you can also say that but Russia provided us with a cheap oil. Russia could have also given us the natural gas at a lesser rate. See, yes, Russia could have given us the cheap oil. But problem is, it is not just about the rate at which that country is providing us with the natural gas or crude oil. If Russia attacks Ukraine, what happened was countries imposed sanctions on Russia. The US ne kaha, Western European countries ne kaha, our companies are not going to deal with Russian companies. Our companies will not deal with Russia. Now, if crude oil is there, if natural gas is there, which is to be imported from Russia, can I say it will be imported in oil tankers or gas tankers? An oil tanker or a gas tanker is not going to leave the shore till the time it is insured. And the companies which provide insurance services, they all are Western European or American companies. अब जब American companies provide नहीं करेंगे insurance, when you have Western European companies are not providing insurance, then smaller companies which are in some other countries, they provide insurance to that ship. And when the small companies are, their risk is very high, then in that case they will charge them more premium. And if they charge more premium, then what is going to happen is cost of freight is going to increase. The amount that took earlier to transport gas from Russia to India, it will increase by 1.5 times. So even though you provide us cheap natural oil or crude oil or cheap natural gas, still the cost will be passed on to the farmers or the government. So point is, good amount is being spent on the fertilizer subsidy as well. Other than this, what is the most important form of irrigation in India? most of the farmers, they are going to be dependent on irrigation by, but the rainfall is not irrigation, groundwater. 64% of the total area that is irrigated by groundwater, and within that groundwater irrigation almost 47-48% is nothing but the share of tube well irrigation. Achha. Now when you look at a tube well, to run a tube well you would need electricity. So farmers would require power, but the farmers, they don't have the capacity to pay for the electricity. So most of the states, they provide highly subsidized power to the farmers, or free power is given. Just in a state like Punjab, Punjab provides completely free electricity to its farmers. Telangana, farmers are given electricity completely free of cost. Andhra Pradesh, completely free of cost power. Or Tamil Nadu, free electricity is given. So Punjab, Andhra, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, they give free power to the farmers. Certain other states, as UP, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, they will also provide highly subsidized power. So if a farmer is using electricity, the cost of which is 5 rupees a unit, and you're not paying anything, who is going to pay for this amount? The government. So state government pays a very high amount as electricity subsidy. 2021-2022 mein, Punjab government paid a subsidy of around 6,000 crore for electricity. So point I'm trying to tell you is, lot of subsidies, they go to agriculture sector, and this increases the government's overall subsidy burden, and this becomes one of the reasons for high fiscal deficit. So point I'm trying to tell you is how agriculture influences the overall economics in the country. Or for example, I guess I have been able to explain my points to everyone. ये आपको समझ आ रहा है? Yes or no? Yes, sir. चलो. अच्छा. Now let's say I look at the trade deficit that we have. Okay? That is, the trade deficit will occur if the value of our imports is more than the value of our exports. Okay? In goods we have a trade deficit, that is, we import more value of goods compared to the goods that we are exporting. If suppose I look at the trade in agriculture commodities, do we have a surplus or do we have a deficit when it comes to trade in agriculture commodities? Surplus, okay. Like we have a net trade surplus when it comes to the trade in agri commodities. If I have net trade surplus, what are those agri commodities that we are exporting? What are we exporting? Rice, okay. Mango, that is fruits and vegetables, okay. Wheat, okay. Spices, okay. Onions, okay. Recently it was in the news. Tea, coffee, okay. Okay, listen, let me just organize this. When you look at our agriculture exports, we export large quantities of basmati and non-basmati varieties. Export large quantities of basmati and non-basmati varieties. Listen please. When you look at the crop rice, it is the most important food crop in India, and largest area under rice cultivation in the world is in India. Okay, so we have largest area under the cultivation of rice, but India is not the largest producer of rice. Largest producer is China. So we have largest area under cultivation, but we are the second largest producer. But India is the largest exporter of rice, and almost 40% of the total rice that is exported in the different parts of the world, it is exported from India because we generate large quantities of surplus. Achha. When we cultivate rice, we are cultivating and exporting basmati as well as non-basmati variety. If I look at this term, basmati variety of rice, bas means smell. That means basmati is an aromatic variety of rice. Generally, it is associated with long grains, but the major property of basmati is the aroma that it provides. It's an aromatic variety of rice. When you look at basmati, there are certain areas which can be called as the traditional regions for basmati rice cultivation. For example, if I look at the areas of Punjab, areas of Haryana and areas of Western UP. Punjab, Haryana, Western UP, they are the traditional areas for basmati rice cultivation. But today, basmati rice is cultivated in the areas of Bihar, even Orissa is cultivating, Madhya Pradesh is emerging as an important producer of basmati rice, and even there are reports that Andhra Pradesh has also started cultivating basmati varieties. So, naturally or traditionally, the areas of Punjab, Haryana, Western UP have been the areas for basmati rice cultivation, but today a number of other states are also cultivating. This variety of rice is very costly, and because basmati rice is very costly variety of rice, a good number of people in India, they won't be able to afford this variety of rice. So when the farmers are cultivating it, largely basmati is cultivated for export purposes. This is an export variety of rice. When we export basmati rice, we export large quantities of basmati rice to the areas of West Asia. There's a huge demand of basmati in West Asian countries. Then we export a lot of rice to North America, especially USA and Canada. Okay, so a lot of rice is exported to West Asian countries, a lot of rice to US and North America, Canada, and then Western European countries are also the countries to which we export a lot of basmati variety. So three major markets: West Asia, North America, US and Canada, and Western European countries. Now, when you look at the rice, largely maximum of the rice, more than 90% that is produced in the country, it is non-basmati variety. Because non-basmati is just one term that is used by the government. There will be n number of rice varieties under this type. Just that the government categorizes rice as basmati and non-basmati. All other varieties, they will be part of this. When you look at non-basmati, we export a lot of non-basmati as well, but because it is a variety which is more affordable, we largely export this non-basmati to a number of poor countries of the world. They say good amount of non-basmati is exported to Bangladesh, because Bangladesh is a country which imports a lot of rice from India. We export a lot of non-basmati to Nepal. Okay, to Bangladesh, to Nepal, we export a lot of non-basmati, but the major market is Africa. Okay, so Africa we are exporting largest quantities of the non-basmati variety. Okay, so Nepal, Bangladesh, and mostly to African nations. If you know, Government of India in 2022 imposed a ban on the exports of the rice varieties that is known as broken rice. Okay. Now, listen, I'll come to that as well. So, Government of India said that 2022 we will impose a ban on the exports of broken rice. Broken rice is normally not used for human consumption. See, suppose I am cultivating paddy. Paddy means the rice grain which is covered in a layer of husk. Now, when I go for milling, if the grain is not very strong, when I remove this husk cover and when I remove the bran layer, some of the rice varieties, they will break into pieces. And that pieces, those are known as broken rice. So that broken rice is not used for human consumption, but it is used as a poultry feed, and it is also used for making the ethanol. Okay? So it is used for making ethanol, it is used for making the poultry feed. So 2022 government says we have a program of 20% of ethanol blending by 2024, 2025. So we need more of broken rice in India. We stopped the exports of broken rice. 2023 what happened was monsoon in the country failed. That means the rainfall last year was below normal. That means whatever is the long period average, जो पिछले 50 साल का average है, उससे कम rainfall was there. And as a result, shortage of rice, the government said, would be created. Moreover, 2024, in the months of April, May, we have elections, and the government is very much worried about the price rise, because consumers of India, they are very sensitive to the prices, and many times price rise decides the fate of the elections and political parties. So government in 2023 said, we need to control the inflation, we need to bring down the prices, so we will not allow the exports of non-basmati. Basmati ko to allow kiya, because basmati is basically exported to countries wherein this rice variety may not be consumed by the people because of its high cost. But non-basmati, because it is consumed by most of the people in India, government said we will not allow the exports of non-basmati variety. So 2022 government said we are going to ban the exports of broken rice, and 2023 mein government said we are going to ban the exports of non-basmati variety. So now suppose I am a trader, I was exporting non-basmati earlier. Okay, I was exporting non-basmati earlier, and now the government has imposed a ban on the non-basmati. Now what I am going to do is, if this is a bag, in this bag I will print Pusa Basmati 1121, एक variety है बासमती की. I have printed Pusa Basmati 1121, और इसके अंदर I have filled non-basmati variety. Okay, so that means when the government imposed a ban on the exports of non-basmati variety, a good number of traders in India, they started exporting non-basmati in the bags of basmati rice. So how do you control this? For this, the government came up with a system of minimum export price. Price of basmati is, let's say, 5,000 rupees a bag. Price of non-basmati is, let's say, 1,000 rupees a bag. So if you have printed Pusa Basmati 1121 and you are exporting it at a rate of, let's say, 1,100 rupees a bag, can I say then it has to be non-basmati, because basmati cannot be exported at this low rate? So government imposed a minimum export price, and government said that minimum export price, let's say, is 5,000. Hypothetical figure. Okay? Government says minimum export price is 5,000. And if you are going to export non-basmati at 5,000, who is going to purchase it from you? Nobody. So this is basically a mechanism taken up by the government to prevent the exports of non-basmati, which was done in basmati rice bags. That is minimum export price. Is this clear to everyone? Then, when you look at the exports of rice, very often you will come across a term, virtual export of water. Will come across the term virtual export of water. Now what does this mean? When you look at the virtual export of water, when we cultivate rice, a good amount of rice which is meant for exports is cultivated in Punjab, Haryana. Punjab, Haryana, these are the areas where rice is cultivated mainly as a commercial crop. Yahan par people will have wheat as a staple diet. They don't consume rice. So rice will be cultivated, that is meant either for government's procurement, which is under MSP, or for export purposes. To produce 1 kg of rice in Punjab, you need 5,000 liters of water. Just to produce 1 kg, you need 5,000 liters of water. So can I say, rice cultivation in Punjab, where you take so much of water, is leading to groundwater depletion? Now you are depleting groundwater and you are exporting 1 kg of rice. Can I say, with every kg of rice that we are exporting, we are virtually exporting 5,000 liters of water, especially in a country where we are facing problems of water crisis. So that is why a number of people, they have been opposing so much exports of rice to the other areas of the world, because it is depleting the groundwater reserves of the country and may be creating problems related to the water shortage, because 80% of fresh water that we are using in India, it is used only for agriculture purposes, and especially rice cultivation, which is a water intensive crop. Is this understood by everyone? Achha. Then other than this, when we export good amount of marine products. When we export good amount of marine products. Achha, one thing I forgot to mention, where is maximum rice cultivated? Maximum rice in West Bengal, followed by UP, followed by Punjab. The top 3 producers. Top 3 producers, West Bengal, UP, followed by Punjab. Achha. Now you look at marine products. Dekho. When you look at the marine products, India is the second largest producer of marine products in the world. We are the second largest producer of marine products in the world, again after China. Okay. Achha. Marine products will not only include the fishes, but it will also include the other things like, for example, crustaceans, as crabs, shrimps, they all will be part of this marine products. Okay. Achha. We export a large quantity of marine products, and major market lies in US. Okay. We export marine products to USA. We export marine products to Western European countries, to Europe we export. And a major market is East and Southeast Asia. Okay, so we export it to Europe, we export it to US and also to East and Southeast Asia. East Asia mein Hong Kong is the biggest market. Southeast Asia mein it is Singapore, which is the biggest market. Okay, so East and Southeast Asia mein Hong Kong and Singapore, these are two big markets for Indian marine products. Achha, where do we produce maximum of the marine products? State? Tamil Nadu? Andhra Pradesh. That is, Andhra Pradesh is the largest producer of the marine products in India. Maximum of it is in Andhra Pradesh, especially the areas of coastal Andhra. That is, if you've heard about districts like Krishna, Godavari. Krishna and Godavari are the districts of Andhra Pradesh wherein almost every farmer is going to have a pond wherein he's cultivating or he's having fishes. When we look at marine products, we have a very long coastline. That means the peninsular part of the country is surrounded by ocean on three sides. So we go for fishing in the oceans. Then we have large number of freshwater bodies like rivers and lakes. We go for freshwater fishing. But maximum of the production, more than 60%, comes from aquaculture, where the farmers have created ponds within their fields, and in those ponds the fingerlings are grown. Okay, so Andhra Pradesh is the largest producer of the fisheries in the country, followed by West Bengal, followed by Gujarat. These three are the top producers. Andhra, West Bengal and Gujarat. Tamil Nadu is fourth. Okay. Then we export a good amount of buffalo meat as well. India exports large quantities of buffalo meat. Listen please. When you look at the meat production, India is the largest producer of meat. One simple reason is we have maximum of the livestock animals of the world. Maximum of the cattle, buffaloes, goats, sheep, is सबको मिला के maximum the livestock animals are in the country. ठीक है? अच्छा, when you look at buffalo meat, India is the largest producer of buffalo meat, and one simple reason is that we have more than 50% of world's buffaloes. Okay, more than 50% of world's buffaloes are in India. That is why we are the largest producer of buffalo meat. Achha. We export a lot of buffalo meat as well, and where do we export? Major market lies in North Africa. That is, maximum of the exports are to Egypt. Okay, so we export large quantities of buffalo meat to North Africa, especially Egypt. Then we make a good exports to the countries of Indochina, that is Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos. So to these countries known as Indochina countries, Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, यहाँ पर we export some good amount of buffalo meat. अच्छा, we also export a lot of buffalo meat to the countries like Indonesia. Okay, so we export a lot of buffalo meat to Indonesia as well. अच्छा, where do we produce maximum of buffalo meat? See, maximum of buffalo meat comes from the state of UP. Okay, UP will have maximum buffaloes, and maximum buffalo meat also comes from the state of Uttar Pradesh. Followed by the state of Andhra, followed by the state of Maharashtra. So UP, Andhra and Maharashtra, and exports largely to Egypt, Vietnam and nearby countries and Indonesia. Achha. Then India used to export a large quantity of sugar as well. We'll discuss this now in detail. Achha, listen now. Sugar, see, listen now. India is the largest producer of sugar in the world, and we have been the largest producer since 2022. 2022 say India is the largest producer of sugar in the world. Before it, it was Brazil which was the largest producer, and India overtook Brazil as the largest producer as of now. Achha. Whatever sugar is made in the world, sugar is made from beetroot, that is Canada, Western Europe, that sugar beet or beetroot is used for making sugar. In many parts of the world and in some parts of India as well, we can make sugar from the dates, that is wild date in India is used for making sugar. But the most valuable raw material for the sugar production will be sugarcane. Sugarcane is the most valuable raw material. If I look at sugarcane, sugarcane is a crop of tropical areas which is cultivated in a number of regions of India. But When you look at the areas of sugarcane cultivation, maximum of sugarcane is cultivated in the areas of Uttar Pradesh. UP has a very large area under the cultivation of sugarcane. And in UP, sugarcane is cultivated in almost entire state, but Western UP is known as a sugar belt of India. For example, if you look at the areas of, if you've heard about Meerut, everybody I guess must have heard about. Near to Meerut we have Muzaffarnagar, we have a place Saharanpur, Shamli, Bagpat, Bijnor. ये वाला जो belt है, this is known as a sugar belt of India, where the jat cultivators of UP, they largely go for sugarcane cultivation. It's a profitable crop there. Okay? Assured irrigation is available and the farmers go for sugarcane cultivation. Then sugarcane is also cultivated in the Tarai regions of Uttar Pradesh. Yes, Tarai means, if suppose this is let's say Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, this is let's say the areas of Sikkim, ये वाला area Uttarakhand. ये जो border है between India and Nepal, on both sides of the border there is a very narrow strip of land. There is a very narrow strip of land. This falls in India, this falls also in Nepal. This is known as Tarai belt. Okay? Abhi, you will read this in Indian geography. Tarai means wet. So this is an area where lot of water comes automatically from the ground. So this is an area which is cultivating sugarcane. So entire area, right from the regions of Uttarakhand to the areas of Bihar, they cultivate sugarcane along this belt. For example, UP में Lakhimpur Kheri is very important, Bahraich is important, or for example, Maharajganj is important. Same ways, यहाँ पर बिहार का border शुरू होता है, यहाँ पर if you have heard about Champaran, both पूर्वी and पश्चिमी Champaran, up till Supol, all of these areas they are going to cultivate sugarcane. So UP में, Western UP is considered the belt of sugarcane cultivation, plus good amount of sugar is cultivated in this area of UP, that is Tarai belt. Then eastern part of UP here, the areas around Balia, Devariya, Varanasi, they also cultivate some good amount of sugarcane. So UP has largest area under the cultivation of sugarcane in India. Achha. This year also UP is likely to emerge as the largest producer of sugar, though last year it was Maharashtra. Like last year it was Maharashtra which was the largest producer. This year UP is likely to emerge as the largest producer, because Maharashtra mein, Karnataka mein rainfall was less, so there might be some problem related to sugar production. Achha. If you look at the sugar production after UP, the second largest area under cultivation is in Maharashtra, which was also the largest producer last year. Maharashtra mein again, there are 2-3 areas which are important for sugarcane cultivation. Dekho. If you people have heard about the areas of Maharashtra which is drained by Krishna river and its tributaries, जैसे if you have heard about Kolhapur or Sholapur, Satara, Sangli, ये जो areas है ना, Kolhapur, Sholapur, Satara, Sangli, that is part of southern Maharashtra. Southern Maharashtra is the area which is drained by river Krishna and its tributaries. This is the traditional belt of sugarcane cultivation. Okay? यहाँ पर water is available, so sugarcane is cultivated. Then sugarcane cultivation is also there in the areas around Pune and Ahmednagar. Pune and Ahmednagar, these started cultivating sugarcane somewhere in early 60s and late 50s with the expansion of irrigation network. And then there is an area which cultivates sugarcane which is known as Marathwada region. ये जो वाला area southern Maharashtra, Pune, Ahmednagar, western Maharashtra, and this is Marathwada. Have you heard about Aurangabad? Also known as Sambhaji Nagar now. So this Aurangabad, Nanded, ये वाला Latur वाला belt, this is Marathwada region. Okay? So Marathwada, though it is a dry area, but the farmers who have access to irrigation, they are cultivating sugarcane. Okay? So sugarcane is cultivated in Maharashtra. Third largest producer is Karnataka. Achha, Karnataka mein sugarcane is cultivated in north as well as in south. Listen carefully, please. If you have been to Bangalore, if from Bangalore you go towards Mysore, okay, by road if you go from Bangalore to Mysore, you will come across a place Mandya. In between these two areas, there is a place Mandya. Mandya is known as land of sugarcane in Karnataka. The most important area in southern Karnataka for cultivating sugarcane. Just north of Mandya, there is a place Hassan, if you have heard about. Hassan also is an important producer of sugarcane. Okay? So south mein we have sugarcane cultivation where Mandya is important, Hassan is important. Very near to the borders of Tamil Nadu, we have a place Chamrajnagar that also cultivates sugarcane in Karnataka. Other than south, north Karnataka will also cultivate sugarcane. Sugarcane will be cultivated in the areas of Belgaum, if you have heard about. Belgaum, also known as Belgavi in Karnataka, that cultivates sugarcane. Bagalkot cultivates. So, areas of southern Maharashtra, areas of northern Karnataka, they are bordering one another. So, this entire belt is an area for sugarcane cultivation. So, UP, Maharashtra, Karnataka, these are the three large sugar producing states in the country. Because sugarcane is cultivated in a number of other states, but these are three top producers. And then, when you look at the sugar exports, what we have noticed is that it was Brazil which was the largest producer of sugar in the world, but India surpassed Brazil in 2022. What has been the reason? Understand this, please. Whenever we look at the price of sugar in the international market, price of sugar in the international market is controlled by one factor, and that is crude oil price in the international market. Whenever the crude oil price is high, the price of sugar will also be high. Whenever the crude oil price is low, the price of sugar is also going to be low. Understand this equation here. How do the crude oil prices affect the sugar prices in the world? This is something, please. Okay. The sugar cane is converted to refined sugar. Okay. So what we are going to do is, we'll crush sugar cane, the juice will be boiled, raw sugar will be produced, and raw sugar will be crystallized to produce refined white sugar or crystal sugar. In this process, a byproduct emerges that is known as molasses. Okay. The molasses that we are producing, it is used for making rum, it is used for making, let's say, spirits that are used in perfume industry, but the most important use of molasses is it is used for making ethanol. Okay. So when you produce sugar from sugar cane, you are going to produce a byproduct that is known as molasses. It is brown colored thick syrup, and molasses is used for making ethanol. And what is the use of ethanol? Blending with petrol. Okay. This is used for petrol blending. Okay. Then, other than this process, there is a process wherein the sugar cane is crushed and the juice is fermented directly. Whatever juice is there, the juice will be fermented, and the sugar cane juice will be fermented to produce ethanol. That means you will not make sugar. Here, first case, what are you doing? You are taking sugar cane, you convert that sugar cane into raw sugar, and raw sugar will then be fermented, and then you get refined sugar, and in this process you get a byproduct molasses, and molasses you are going to make ethanol. Is this understood? Second is, you crush the sugar cane, you don't make any sugar, and the entire juice will be fermented and it will produce ethanol. Okay. Can I say, because entire juice is converted into ethanol, the ethanol production here will be very high compared to ethanol that is made from molasses? Samajh aa raha hai yahan tak? Moreover, can I say, because the sugarcane juice is converted entirely to ethanol, I am not making any amount of sugar here. No sugar is being made. Now suppose case number 1, I am assuming that crude oil prices in the international market are very high. If other factors are constant, can I say, if crude oil prices are high, the price of petrol will also be high, price of diesel will also be high. So because of high crude oil prices, let's say petrol is being sold at 100 rupees a liter. Take a hypothetical. Take a high crude oil price mein petrol is being sold at 100 rupees a liter. Now, if there is an oil marketing company, can I say, if this oil marketing company mixes, let's say 50% ethanol to petrol, price of ethanol, let's say, is just 40 rupees a liter. Take ethanol ka price is 40 rupees a liter. And the oil marketing company, if it makes petrol which is blended with ethanol in the same ratio, then cost of 2 liters will be around 140 rupees. So cost of ethanol blended petrol will be 70 rupees. Samajh aa raha hai yahan tak? So if there is very high price of crude oil, can I say oil marketing companies would try to produce more of, would try to purchase more of ethanol? So the ethanol is blended with petrol, and as a result, the price of ethanol blended petrol will be down. So when this happens, what will happen to demand of ethanol in the world? because every oil marketing company will now try to purchase ethanol, and as a result of which the price of ethanol will be high. If I am a sugar mill, if I am going to use process number 1, I will make sugar, but from the molasses that I'm going to make ethanol, ethanol produced will be very limited in quantity. But what if I convert the entire sugar cane into ethanol? Can I say more quantity of ethanol will be produced? So whenever the price of crude oil will be very high, what will happen is demand for ethanol will pick up and price of ethanol will also increase. When price of ethanol increases, can I say the sugar mills, they will have profits in this? They will try to convert the entire sugar cane into ethanol. So whenever the price of crude oil increases, mills in Brazil, mills in Thailand, they don't produce sugar, but they convert the sugar cane into ethanol directly. When the entire sugar cane is converted into ethanol, are you producing any sugar here? No. When no sugar will be produced, then what will happen to sugar supply in the international market? There will be a fall in the sugar supply. If demand is this and supply is less, what is going to happen to price? Price of sugar is going to increase. So can I say greater is the price of crude oil, greater is going to be the price of sugar. So sugar prices in the international market are always controlled by the crude oil prices. 2022 mein, when Russia attacks Ukraine, this is the time when in March 2022, crude oil prices, they increased to as much as $131 a barrel. Is price pay, as a result, what happened was mills in Brazil started diverting the sugar cane for ethanol production. Limited amount of sugar was produced, and as a result of which sugar prices in the international market increased to a very high point. Not only this, but because Brazil did not make much sugar, India automatically becomes as the largest producer of sugar. Yahan tak samajh aa raha hai? Now, if we have a case 2022 is the year, and we have a very high price of sugar in the international market. If price of sugar in the international market is high, can I say the mills in the country, they will also have a lot of incentive to export sugar? Because price is high, everybody wants to increase the profit. Mills will export more sugar into the international market so that the profit margins go up. But if you know that whenever government provides rice and wheat under public distribution system, along with rice, along with wheat, government also is going to provide sugar under the public distribution system. So sugar is also sold at a subsidized rate under PDS. Rice and wheat, food security of the nation. Why is the government providing sugar in the PDS? Rice or wheat, food security, why is sugar being given? But sugar is considered as the cheapest source of energy for the working class people. People who are engaged in manual labor, they consume more sugar because it is a source of instant energy. So because we have a large number of working class people who depend on government subsidies, government says we will provide sugar in the public distribution system as well. If the sugar that is produced in India is exported to different areas of the world, what is going to happen? Shortage will be created in India. So 2022 mein, government said that we will impose a quota on the mills on the maximum amount of sugar that the mills can export. Okay? So mills were allowed to export not beyond a quota. And in October 2023, when the price of sugar started increasing, government said sugar will not be allowed to be exported. That means 2023 mein, October mein government banned the exports of sugar from the country. 2022 mein quota was imposed, that is restrictions were placed, and October 2023 mein government completely banned the exports of sugar from India. Achha. Government also says that this also cannot be done in India. So December 2023 mein government came up with the orders that we are facing problems related to shortage of sugar in India, and we will not allow the mills to produce ethanol directly from the sugarcane juice. So this is not permitted in India since December 2023, and also the government has said that sugar cannot be exported out of the country. So as of now, we are not exporting any sugar since October 2023, but nevertheless, India is considered as one of the major exporters of sugar and the largest producer of sugar at present. समझ आ रहा है यहाँ तक? अच्छा. Then we export some good amount of tea as well. We export some good amount of tea. Listen please. When we look at the tea production in India, we are going to find that India is the second largest producer of tea. But like rice, we have the largest area under tea cultivation. Rice, we have discussed that we have largest area under cultivation, but China is the largest producer. Same is the case with tea, that we have largest area under cultivation, but again, China is the largest producer of tea. Okay. We have a huge demand of tea in the country, but we also are a major exporter. Okay. And when we export tea, major exports go to Russia. Okay. So major exports go to Russia. It is a major importer of Indian tea. We export tea to the CIS countries, Commonwealth of Independent States, to CIS countries, that is countries which were part of former USSR, take or Central Asian republics, you can say. Take it. So to Commonwealth of Independent States we export. We export very large quantity of tea to Iran. Iran is also a major market for Indian tea. Then we also export some good amount of tea to UK and Germany. The biggest market is Russia. We have Central Asian republics or CIS countries. Iran, UAE. UAE is also a very big market. So United Arab Emirates, this is also a big market for Indian tea. You know that maximum of tea is produced in Assam. Assam is the largest producer of tea and produces almost 50% of India's tea. Because of 50% of India's tea is produced in Assam. Other than Assam, we have tea cultivated in the nearby areas of Assam as well. Just say some parts of Arunachal cultivate tea, some parts of Meghalaya cultivate tea. We have Nagaland, Tripura, they also produce tea. Some parts of Manipur also cultivate tea. So tea is cultivated in the nearby regions of Assam as well, but that is negligible compared to Assam. Assam by far is the largest producer in northeastern India. Other than Assam, we have tea cultivation in areas of West Bengal. And West Bengal is the second largest producer of tea in the country, accounting for almost 25% production. Okay. See, when you look at West Bengal is an area where in tea is cultivated two regions. Just suppose a hill here. Okay. Somewhere at the height of more than 6,500 feet, somewhere here, we have Darjeeling. Okay. So Darjeeling is at a good height. But suppose you want to go to Darjeeling, you will start your climb from Siliguri. Okay. You will start your climb from Siliguri, you will go to Jalpaiguri, you will go to Darjeeling. Then if I look at these areas of Jalpaiguri, the areas of Siliguri, they are on the foothills. Okay. Height pe Darjeeling hai, at the foot we have Siliguri or Jalpaiguri. These areas are known as the areas of duars. Okay. Duar basically means door to the Himalayas. Okay. So foothills that are present in the regions of West Bengal, they are known as duars. So tea is cultivated in the duar regions and tea is also cultivated in the hilly areas. So Darjeeling will be hilly region and Siliguri, Jalpaiguri, they will be the duar areas. They will cultivate some amount of tea. DUARS. I've written it. Take it. Now listen please. When you look at Darjeeling, though the amount of tea that is produced in Darjeeling is not that high, but Darjeeling produces a very fine quality of tea that fetches a premium price in the market. Darjeeling tea is known for its unique aroma and flavor, and it is said that the flavor and aroma in the Darjeeling tea is because of the local geographical condition. So it carries a GI tag as well. Okay? So it carries a geographical indicator tag and fetches a very premium price. So we have a good amount of tea cultivation in the areas of Assam, and after Assam it is the areas of West Bengal. Two areas, duars as well as the hilly regions around Darjeeling. Then we have tea cultivation in the areas of South India as well. South India also cultivates tea. Japa tea is cultivated in Tamil Nadu, tea is cultivated in Kerala, and also cultivated in the areas of Karnataka. These three areas cultivate tea. You see, everybody must have heard about the areas of Nilgiris. Nilgiri mountain, everybody must have heard about. Nilgiri is also a district in Tamil Nadu, and this is an area which cultivates maximum of tea. So maximum tea that is there in South India, it is from Tamil Nadu, and that too comes from the Nilgiri district of Tamil Nadu. Jैसे, if you have heard about Ooty, if you type Ooty on Google and if you click on images, most of the prominent pictures will be nothing but of tea gardens, because this is an area important for tea cultivation. Achha. Adjoining the areas of Nilgiri in Tamil Nadu are the areas of Idukki in Kerala. Have you heard about Munnar? A popular hill station. Munnar is part of Idukki. Okay? So if I look at Idukki, Idukki also cultivates a lot of tea. Then Kerala mein, if I go towards northern part where Kerala shares borders with Karnataka, if I've heard about a place Wayanad, Wayanad also is important for cultivation of tea. Okay? So Kerala mein Idukki, Wayanad, these are two very important places, and then Tamil Nadu mein it is the areas of Nilgiri, Ooty ke around that will cultivate tea. Other than this, if I look at Karnataka, Karnataka is more important for coffee, but some areas of Karnataka around Coorg, or if you have heard about Coorg or Kodagu, they will also cultivate some amount of tea, though that is area is more important for coffee, but some amount of tea is also cultivated there. Okay? So Assam, West Bengal and these areas of South India. Achha, then we have some very limited amount of tea that is cultivated in the areas of North India as well. That is Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. Like Uttarakhand will cultivate tea, Himachal also cultivates tea. If you have heard about a hill station known as Almora in Uttarakhand, Almora is an area which has a place Kausani, which is very important for tea gardens. Okay? Again, productivity is limited, production is very limited, but tea is of superior quality. Okay? Same ways, everybody must have heard about Dehradun, the capital of Uttarakhand, that also is known for tea gardens, though not many tea gardens are left here, but still some good amount of tea is produced from Dehradun as well. Achha. Then, when you look at tea cultivation, we have tea cultivation in the areas of Himachal. Himachal mein largely it is associated with Mandi, okay, and Kangra. Kangra and Mandi, they cultivate tea. Jaise Darjeeling tea carries a GI tag because of the tea producing unique flavor and aroma because of geographical location. Kangra tea also carries a GI tag, and Kangra tea also fetches a very high premium price. Okay? So Himachal, where jaise Palampur if you have heard about, or Dharamshala if you have heard about, all of these are the areas where tea is cultivated. So Himachal produces tea, Uttarakhand produces tea, but very limited quantities produced in these areas. Okay? So India is the second largest producer of tea, but we have largest area under the cultivation. Achha, then when you look at tea exports, in the past 1 or 2 years we have seen some good increase in the exports, and largely it was because of the Sri Lankan crisis. As what happened, madam? नहीं आपने क्या बोल रहे हो कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा. No, see, it is not to be taken otherwise. It is my duty that every one of you understand what I am trying to explain. Okay? What have you not understood? Please tell me. See, any area, if it produces any food, let's say Kashmir produces saffron. Now, saffron that is produced in Kashmir, it is going to be produced and it carries a certain type of quality. That quality that is there, it is because of unique climatic conditions that we have in that area. So any product, if it carries some kind of unique properties due to the geographical condition, it carries a GI tag. Okay? It is geographical indicator. So Kangra is an area which carries a GI tag where it produces tea, and tea carries some unique properties, flavor and aroma, so it carries a GI tag as well. But to be frank, if you're not able to understand anything, then you please raise your hand. Okay? If you go outside the class without taking much from the class, then my coming here, standing here, speaking for so many minutes carries no value. Okay? So please, if you have any questions, raise your hand. In case you feel shy that you are not able to raise your hand in the class itself, you meet me outside the class. Okay? Achha. Listen please. I was saying that when you look at 2020 there was an economic crisis in Sri Lanka, and because of the economic crisis, Sri Lanka could not export a good amount of tea. As a result, what happened was exports from India increased in that particular year. So 2021 में 2022 में exports from India saw a marginal increase because of Sri Lankan crisis. Then when you look at the exports, we export some amount of cotton as well. No, it is not. India is fourth. China. China largest producer, largest exporter. Kenya, Sri Lanka. Then we have fourth is India. Janvi Kesarwani, we have productivity which is much less, okay, compared to many areas of China. Listen please. When you look at cotton, cotton is the most valuable commercial crop that we have in the country. The most valuable commercial crop that we have in India is cotton. Okay, and cotton is a crop of tropical areas, and India is the largest producer of cotton in the world. Okay, so we have maximum area under cultivation of cotton, and we are also the largest producer of cotton in the world. Listen please. When you look at cotton, what are the areas in India where cotton is cultivated? What areas cultivate cotton, if you know? Deccan Plateau cultivates cotton, okay. Maharashtra cultivates cotton. Listen please. If suppose I look at cotton cultivation, in India, maximum of the cotton is cultivated in the regions of Gujarat. Okay? Gujarat, if I look at this area, it is known as Kutch region. Okay? This is Kutch region, the great run of Kutch that we have here. Okay? We have this area which is known as Saurashtra region. Culturally, this is known as Saurashtra, and in physiography, this area can be called as Kathiawar Plateau. Okay? It can be called as Kathiawar Plateau, or culturally it is known as Saurashtra. If you have heard about places like, for example, Junagadh, Rajkot, Amreli, Bhavnagar, Surendranagar, this सारा area is this. This is the most important area for cotton cultivation in the country, and Gujarat is the largest producer of cotton, and within Gujarat it is Saurashtra region which is the most important area. Okay? So Gujarat is the largest producer, with Saurashtra as the most important area. Then second largest producer of cotton, it is Maharashtra. And Maharashtra mein, if you look at, if I look at this particular area of Maharashtra, this area, this is the area which is known as Vidarbha region. This is known as Vidarbha region. Have you heard about Nagpur? Around Nagpur, there are a number of places, as for example, Yavatmal, or for example, areas like Amravati or Akola, Chandrapur, ये पूरा का पूरा belt, it is known as Vidarbha region. Vidarbha region is known for cultivation of cotton. Okay, so this area has black soil, this area has black soil wherein cotton is cultivated. Okay, some amount of cotton Marathwada as well, but Vidarbha is more important. Then after Gujarat and Maharashtra, it is Telangana. Okay, Telangana is the third largest producer of cotton. So we have cotton cultivation in Gujarat, in Maharashtra, and in Telangana. Okay. When you look at cotton, it will be cultivated in Karnataka. Jaise Dharwad in Karnataka is important for cotton. It is cultivated in Tamil Nadu, that is Tirunelveli in Tamil Nadu is important for cotton. It is cultivated in Punjab, Haryana as well. But these three are the top producers of cotton. Okay. When we look at cotton, though the production is very high, but the exports are not that high. One simple reason being that we have a flourishing cotton textile industry in India, and good amount of cotton that is cultivated is consumed within the country. Okay? When we export cotton, some good amount of cotton is exported to Bangladesh. We export some amount of cotton to Vietnam as well, but limited exports are there. Okay? But we are the largest producer. We export cotton to China as well. Okay? So to Bangladesh, to Vietnam, to China, we export cotton. Then when we look at the exports, we export some amount of spices, we export some amount of fruits and vegetables, ठीक है, जैसे though the value of goods exported, so the value of fruits and vegetables exported is very high, value of spices that are exported is also very high. But when you look at spices, we import a lot of spices as well. We import a lot of fruits and vegetables as well. जैसे we export good amount of chili, but we import a good amount of green cardamom. ठीक है, we export a good amount of mangoes, but we import a good number of exotic fruits as well. ठीक है, so when you look at the difference between exports and imports, it is quite less. ठीक है, so normally these are major agriculture exports items from India. Then, are we importing agri commodities into the country? Agriculture commodities, are we importing? What are we importing then? Fertilizer, okay. Pulses, okay. Oil seeds, very good. Listen please. When you look at the imports, the major imports will be made up by the edible oil. Major imports are made by edible oil. The demand for edible oil in the country is approximately 25 million tons a year. Demand for edible oil is around 25 million tons of edible oil that is consumed in the country every year. The production of edible oils in India is approximately 11 million tons every year. Okay. This is the demand, this is the production. So approximately 13 to 14 million tons of edible oils are imported every year. That means 60% of our edible oil requirement is met through the imports. इसके आसपास demand है, इसके आसपास production है, and that means 13 to 14 million tons is imported every year. Now, what is the reason for the high imports of edible oil? And have we been importing the same quantity of edible oil since very long? Or if the imports have increased in the recent past, what has been the reason? What do you think is the reason why we are importing so much of edible oils? Cropping patterns have very good. That is, our focus is largely on wheat and rice, and oil seeds have been neglected in the country. Excellent. What else? Okay, genesis lies in Green Revolution, where focus was on wheat and rice, and less was the focus on pulses and edible oils. Less profit. Okay, less profit. Very well understood.
So, because the lifestyle of the Indian citizen changes, so we are more focusing on the good quality of oils.
Very good. Very good. I'll just organize what you all have said. Shortage के दो reasons है. One, the increase in demand. Second, we were not able to keep pace with that demand. See, when you look at the edible oils that we are importing, it was not always the case. Up till 1991, we were fairly comfortable with the edible oils that we were producing in the country. We were not importing edible oils up till 1991. We were self-sufficient. 1991 economic liberalization ke baad, what we have seen is the imports have gone up. And simple reason is that after 1991 economic liberalization, per capita income of the people in the country has increased. Now, if I suppose, hypothetical example, I'm a poor person in Delhi. If I'm earning, let's say, only 10,000 rupees a month in an area like Delhi, then if I look at my diet, then my diet will be heavily loaded with cereals. I will consume chapati with some salt. I will consume salted rice. My diet will have more of cereals into it. Less of proteins, less of fats, and less of those high value items. But suppose if I have an income of 1 lakh rupees, I will purchase milk for my children, I will purchase meat for my family, I will purchase fruits and vegetables for my family members. Up till 1991, majority of the people in India, they were very poor. And these people were not able to afford enough of the fat-rich items, enough of the protein-rich items. But with the increase in the per capita income, now the dietary pattern of the population has seen a change. And with change in the dietary pattern, you are consuming more of processed items today. You're consuming more of fat-rich items today. And this is the reason why we have seen a good increase in our consumption. Abhi consumption to apna बढ़ गया, but at the same time, the production could not keep pace because, as you people told me, that the Green Revolution largely focused on rice and wheat, and the focus of the government till very long period of time was only on increasing the production of these two cereal crops. So as a result of which, the oil seeds were not very profitable to the farmers. So farmers cultivated oil seeds only if they could not cultivate the crops like rice and sugarcane or wheat. So what we have noticed is that area under oilseed cultivation has gone down after 1960s, 1970s when we came up with the Green Revolution. So both of these factors are there, and that is why we import large quantities of the edible oils. Achha, when we import the edible oils, we import very large quantity of palm oil. We import large quantities of palm oil. When you look at the palm oil is the oil that we produce from the fruits of oil palm tree. There is a tree which is known as oil palm tree. It will give you fruits. Fruits are in the form of fresh fruit bunches, and those fruits are crushed and we get the oil, and oil is known as palm oil. If you look at the palm oil, it is produced from oil palm tree which is not endemic to the areas which are today the largest producer of palm oil. Where do we produce maximum the palm oil? Malaysia, Indonesia, these two countries, they produce maximum the palm oil. These are the areas where we have very large areas under the cultivation of oil palm tree. But oil palm is not endemic to Malaysia, Indonesia or any of these regions. Oil palm is endemic to the equatorial regions of West Africa. When the Europeans went to West Africa, they found this oil palm tree. And equatorial areas will have very hot and humid conditions. Every day we will have rainfall and good amount of temperature is also there. When Europeans started colonizing the areas of Southeast Asia, because equator also passes through those countries, they found the same type of climatic conditions were there. So traditional rainforest of Indonesia, Malaysia, they were cut down and they were replaced by oil palm plantations. And today these are the areas that produce maximum amount of palm oil, and we import palm oil from these countries. Now the question is, when we look at the edible oil that is consumed in the country, maximum consumption in the country is of palm oil. Now we don't use palm oils in our kitchen. Normally we do not see the kitchens using the palm oil. Where is this palm oil being used then? Processed, that is processed food where we are going to use it. Cosmetic, let's say soaps, lipsticks, lip balms, is sab mein we are using palm oil. Fast foods, that is processed food, okay. Dekho, maximum of the palm oil is used for making hydrogenated vegetable oil. Hydrogenated vegetable oil, which can be called as margarine, which can be called as vanaspati, or if you have heard about dalda, in North India, normally dalda is the term that is used. So that dalda or vanaspati, or that is hydrogenated vegetable oil, it is much cheaper compared to sunflower oil, much cheaper compared to the mustard oil. That is the reason why it is made from palm oil. So whatever palm oil is there, maximum of that is used in making the hydrogenated vegetable oil, plus it is used in the food processed. That is processed food is being using the palm oil. It can be imported from Malaysia, Indonesia. And then we import good amount of soya bean oil. Import good quantity of soya bean oil. From where do we import soya bean oil? Largely Brazil and Argentina. Okay, we import a good amount of soya bean oil from Brazil and Argentina. We also cultivate soya bean in India. And if you people know, Madhya Pradesh is the largest producer of soya bean, especially Malwa Plateau region. Have you heard about Indore, Ujjain, Ratlam? Ye wala jo belt hai, that cultivates a lot of soya bean. And after Madhya Pradesh, it is Maharashtra. But we import soya bean, and we import it from Brazil and Argentina. Achha, when you look at soya bean, US is the largest exporter of soya bean. why do we not export, or sorry, why do we not import soybean from US? Why from Brazil and Argentina? Cost. Logistics cost. But US is much more near compared to Brazil and Argentina. Suppose you visualize the world map. Take a visualize the world map. Can I say India and US both lie in the northern hemisphere? Take it as a lie in the northern hemisphere, both will produce soybean in the months of October, November. So US ka soybean, India ka soybean will be released in the month of October, November. In the month of November, we already have good amount of soybean in the country, and if we allow cheap imports from US, then what is going to happen is farmers in the country will be affected. But can I say Brazil and Argentina, they largely lie in the southern hemisphere? Because they lie in the southern hemisphere, what is going to happen as a result is their soybean will come in the market in the months of March and April. That is when we face maximum of the shortage. So soybean that we are importing, the edible oil of soybean, largely it is from Brazil and Argentina because they produce it in the months of March and April, which is not the season in India. Then we import a good amount of sunflower oil as well. And when you look at the sunflower oil, again, maximum of the sunflower oil is imported from Ukraine. 90% of the sunflower oil comes from Ukraine alone. Some comes from the areas of Argentina, some comes from Russia, some from Australia, but 90% alone comes from Ukraine. Okay, so we import large quantities of edible oil. 2021-2022, we imported edible oil of the value $20 billion. And last year we imported edible oil of the value $16 billion. That means 2021-22 we imported, and 2022-23 this was the value. That means continuously we are spending more than $15 billion just on the imports of edible oil. Now, though we are, when I compare the exports and imports of agri commodities, we are net trade positive, but still agriculture contributes to the trade deficit. If we are net trade positive, how is agriculture contributing to a trade deficit? Because there are a number of commodities which cannot be called as agri commodities, but which are imported for agriculture. Can I say a good amount that we are importing is going to be spent on the natural gas? What is the use of natural gas? 30% of natural gas is used for making only fertilizers. Is fertilizer an agri commodity? No, it is a chemical. But what is the purpose of fertilizer? It is meant for agriculture. When we produce fertilizer, only urea is largely produced in India. Phosphatic fertilizer, potassic fertilizers are largely imported. So there are a number of commodities which cannot be called as agri commodities, but they are being exported, or sorry, they are being imported only for agriculture purposes. So directly, indirectly, agriculture contributes to the trade deficit. Achha, yesterday in the Hindu newspaper, did you read an article in the economics page related to inflation? Now, what was the reason for inflation mentioned? Imported inflation. It says, see, when you look at this term inflation, see, inflation is nothing but, in crude language again, the increase in price of commodities over a period of time. Again, suppose in economics you will read something known as Engel's law, which says greater is your income, lesser is the proportion of your income that you're going to spend on food items, and vice versa. That means I'm a person who earns 10,000 rupees in Delhi. If my income is 10,000 rupees in Delhi, then in that case, majority of my amount is going to go in food items. I may spend 50% of my income, or 5,000 rupees, just in purchasing the food grains or other food commodities. But as my income increases, suppose my income is 15 lakh rupees a month. If my income is 15 lakh rupees a month, then I cannot spend 7.5 lakhs on the food items. If my income is 15 lakh rupees a month, then in that case, I will spend majority of the amount in maintaining a lifestyle. I will purchase a fancy car. I will purchase some costly watches. I will go on some popular holiday destinations. Uski wajah se what is going to happen is my share of income that was spent on food items will be very limited with respect to my total income. So 50% earlier, but now it may go down to, let's say, 10% or even less than 10%, because maximum of amount will go in maintaining a lifestyle. So greater is the income, lesser is the proportion of the income that a person spends on the food items. That means when you look at inflation, it is the increase in the price of agri commodities that is going to impact the common man the most. So that is why when you read about consumer price index, maximum weightage in consumer price index is given to the food and beverages, because this is where the poorest of the people they spend, which is mostly the Indians, they spend most of their amounts. So any increase in the price of agri commodities, it is going to impact majority of the Indians the most. So point is that when you look at agriculture, though direct contribution is just 17%, but majority of the economic indicators are influenced by agriculture sector and its performance. That is why we are saying agriculture is the backbone of Indian economy. I hope I have been able to explain my point to you. Now, what if I look at the society? How is agriculture influencing the society? Like most of our social customs and traditions, a good number of our festivals, a good number of our problems that we are facing in the society as such, it can be traced to agriculture. Listen, suppose I look at the population composition in India with respect to its spatial distribution. What I'm going to notice is approximately 35% of the people in India, they live in the urban centers, and still 65% of the people, they live in the rural areas. Okay, so more than 60% of India's population, it is living in rural areas. But what we are witnessing is that India is urbanizing fast. That is, people are moving from rural areas to the urban centers. Okay? India is urbanizing fast. People are moving from rural areas to the urban centers. Now, what differentiates a rural area from an urban area? Why are the people moving? And if they're moving, why are the people moving, and at what rate are they moving? How do you differentiate the two areas? How do you define a village in the country, and how do you define a town or an urban area in the country? Village की definition क्या है India में, and what is the definition of a city or a town in India? Town में density ज़्यादा होगी. Okay, based on population density. Okay, one. More than 60% people involved in non-agriculture. I'll make a correction to that.
One municipal building of a government.
One municipal
Building of a government.
major economic activity. Non-agriculture sector or non. I'm sorry. Standard of living. Okay, standard of living. Okay, I'm sorry. Infrastructure. Listen, please. Income of the people, infrastructure, population, income levels, easy transport, money. Okay. Listen, please. When you look at village as such, there is no definition of a village in India. Okay, village की कोई definition नहीं है India में. The closest that you can get is village can be compared to a revenue village or mauza. If you ever read a property paper, you'll come across this term, mauza. Mauza means a revenue village. The basic purpose of creating villages in India was to facilitate the process of revenue collection. Okay, so village is the most basic territorial unit meant for the purpose of collection of revenue. There is no definition of village in India. Okay, it is not defined on the basis of population, it is not defined on the basis of standard of living or education of people, nothing like that. Achha. But when we look at a town, there is a definition of a town in India. And there are two types of towns in the country, and one is statutory town. Okay, one is statutory town. What is a statutory town? Basically, if there is any area wherein we have a municipal authority, or we have a town area committee, or we have a cantonment board. किसी भी area में, if there is a municipal authority or town area committee or cantonment board, irrespective of the occupation of people, irrespective of the number of people, irrespective of the density of population, it will be categorized as a town. So any area wherein there is a municipal authority, cantonment board or a town area committee, it will be called as a town. Okay. Second set of town is what we call as census town. Second set of town is census town. Now, can I say census counts the number of people? So census towns are defined on the basis of population. To be classified as a census town, it should meet three criteria. Pehla, there should be at least 5,000 people in that area. Okay? At least 5,000 people should be there in that area. Second, population density has to be at least 400 people per kilometer square. Okay, so population should be at least more than 5,000 and density of population should be at least more than 400 people per kilometer square. Third, at least 75% of the males, not the total population, at least 75% of the males should be engaged in activities other than agriculture. Okay? So, all the three criteria have to be satisfied. At least 75% of the males should be engaged in activities other than agriculture. If all the three criteria are satisfied, then it will be called as a town. Achha. Now, suppose I compare a rural area with an urban area. A good number of rural areas in India will meet these two criteria. They say villages in eastern UP, Bihar, Bengal, they are very dense villages. They are going to meet this criteria. So it is basically this criteria that differentiates rural area from an urban area. That means urban areas mein there is a dominance of non-agricultural activities, whereas rural areas mein agricultural activities may dominate. Okay? Now, when people are moving from rural areas to urban areas, why is it considered as a concern? Just if I look at population in US, almost 75% of the people in USA, they live in the urban areas. Almost 80% of people in Western Europe, they live in urban areas. But when India is urbanizing, what is the challenge here? The basic concern is when people are migrating from rural areas to urban areas, they are migrating under distress. They are migrating under duress. It is basically that people are not able to find employment in the rural areas. That is why they are migrating to the urban centers. Now, when agriculture is a basic difference between the two centers, can I say it is the poor performance of agriculture sector that is leading to this rural out-migration? Agriculture today in India has become an occupation which is associated with very high risk and equally low gains. It is a high risk and a low gain activity, and given an option, most of the farmers would like to quit agriculture. If you do not have very large tract of land, which is with very few farmers in India, agriculture is not economically sustainable. Now, I am a farmer, I am totally dependent on the climate. For example, if suppose I am a cultivator, I am cultivating wheat. Okay? 2022 mein what happened was, the wheat production in India was less. And the reasons that were cited was, the reason was the shriveling of grains because of the excessive temperatures in the month of March. Heat waves in the month of March reduced the production of wheat. Now, how is heat wave related to wheat production in the country? What is the relationship between the two? Yes, ma'am. Not exactly. Dekho. It affects the crops. Wheat is a temperate crop, Gaurav. Okay. Dekho, listen please. A simple example, suppose it is a hot summer afternoon and I ask you to run in this hot summer afternoon. Now, as you run, then you are going to exhaust a bit early. The reason being that when you stand under the sun, your body is going to start sweating. Sweating is a mechanism of the body to cool down the temperature, because when the sweat is going to evaporate, it brings a cooling effect to the body. Okay? So as you stand under the sun, your body will spend a good amount of its energy in sweating exercise. Now, if you start running as well, then already a good amount of energy is spent on sweating, and a good amount of energy will be going on this exercise as well. And with limited energy, you are going to exhaust very easily. Same is the case with the plants. If the temperature is very high, see, wheat is a crop which will be sown in the months of March. Okay? Sorry, it will be sown in the months of November and will be harvested by the months of April and March. Okay? If I look at wheat crop, the grain filling in the panicles of wheat starts somewhere in the months of February and March. जो गेहूं की बाली होती है उसमें जब दाना आता है, that is panicles of wheat. They will start grain filling exercise during the months of February and March. If during the months of February and March temperatures are too high, then during the night time, maximum energy of the plant is spent on losing the water through transpiration. The body of the plant tries to cool it down, and because of it, maximum of the water, maximum of the energy is lost in this transpiration process. And less of energy, less of water is available for the grain filling exercise. And as a result of which, less of grains will be filled, and every grain of wheat will be smaller in size. So if the temperatures in the month of March, they are less, then in that case, the grain filling exercise will be better. So the temperatures increased, it did not affect common people like you and me, but it affected the farmers because it led to the shriveling of grains of wheat. Or 2023, wheat crop was standing in the fields, and then suddenly we had very heavy rainfall, and rainfall was associated with hailstones. And if there's a wheat crop, ये wheat crop है, इसके topmost part is loaded with the grains. If the plant is loaded with the grains from the top, the stem becomes unstable. Now, if heavy rainfall or hailstones they will fall, it is going to lead to flattening of the crop. And once the crop flattens, then it becomes impossible for us to harvest it using the combined harvesters. A lot of loss to the farmers. So, with the heavy rainfall in the months of April, it brought a respite to all of us from the hot summer season, but it created problems for the farmers. Or if you people remember, last year, we had a very high price of tomatoes in the months of August and September. Price of tomatoes in Delhi was as much as 150-200 rupees a kg. Now, what was the reason at that point of time? Why was the price of tomatoes so high? Understand this, please. During this time, whatever tomatoes we get in Delhi, largely it is from the hilly areas of Himachal and also from Maharashtra, Karnataka. If you people remember, last year in Himachal, we saw some large number of videos about how the floods was creating havoc in many areas of Himachal. Because of heavy rainfall, the tomato crop in Himachal was damaged. So limited production from Himachal Pradesh. Achha, Maharashtra mein, the tomato that is sown will be sown in Maharashtra, Karnataka somewhere around the months of March and April. Normally, suppose I look at the time of monsoon season. Can I say monsoon mein hot and humid conditions are there? Because hot and humid conditions are there, we tend to fall ill more easily in the monsoon season. Greater risk of the pest breeding during the time of monsoon season. So hot and humid conditions are considered as the best time for multiplication of pest. And greater will be the number of insects, greater may be the damage that they may cause to the crops. April is normally the hot and dry season in the areas of Maharashtra, Karnataka. But last year, we saw that there was a good rainfall in the months of April as well in Maharashtra and Karnataka. And as a result of which, humid conditions got created. And these humid conditions led to multiplication of insects. And these insects, they acted as carriers for tomato mosaic virus and cucumber mosaic virus that affected tomato crops across large areas of Maharashtra and Karnataka. Lesser would have been the insects, lesser would have been their capacity to transmit this virus. But with hot and humid conditions, they multiplied very fast, transmitted the virus, and as a result of which, large set of crops were lost. So point is that when you look at agriculture, agriculture is something which is very risky occupation wherein we are totally dependent on the climate. Now, when agriculture is not able to provide enough of revenues to the people, why would anybody practice agriculture? So, given an option, most of the farmers would like to leave agriculture and move to the urban areas. And when these people who are escaping agriculture moving to the rural areas, they do not have any skill sets. And in absence of any skill, they will not be gainfully employed in the urban areas. They will only create slums in the urban areas, and these are the people which find no change in their status. Earlier they were rural poor, and now they are going to become urban poor. So no change in the status, plus they will add to the problems of urban areas, slums, congestion, so squatters. All of these are the problems that urban areas are facing, and it's largely because of the continuous in-migration. You talk about smart cities, that we are going to develop smart cities in India. But you cannot have smart cities in the country until and unless you have self-sufficient villages. Because whatever infrastructure you are going to create, it can never be enough if this migration continues at the same rate. So point is, you need to make the villages self-sufficient. You need to reduce this distress-related migration from the rural to the urban areas. So point is, at present, when you look at problems like congestion in the urban areas, poverty, malnutrition in the rural areas, all of this is because of the non-performance of agriculture. And this poor performance of agriculture, this rural out-migration, may lead to a number of other social problems. This is, for example, when migration takes place from rural areas to urban areas, it changes the demography of both the areas on near permanent basis. Just suppose, if you people must have heard about sex ratio. How do we define sex ratio in India? A number of females per 1,000 males. This is the simplest definition that we have in India. If I look at the sex ratio in India as per census 2011, India ka sex ratio is mentioned as 940 or 943. Both the values are available. Census website considers this as the most appropriate value, but both the values are there. Okay. So sex ratio of India is considered to be 940 or 943. But when I compare the sex ratio of rural India with the sex ratio of urban India, what I'm going to find is rural India, the sex ratio is around 949. Urban India, it is around 929. Why is there a difference in the sex ratio? Migration. Because migration as a process is age selective and it is sex selective. That means there is a greater propensity of young males to migrate. If more number of males go to the urban areas, what happens in urban areas? Sex ratio becomes adverse because now there are more number of males compared to females. This highly adverse sex ratio many a times is considered as a reason for crime against women, less sensitivity towards the gender related issues. Achha. Rural areas mein the sex ratio is better than the national average, though not good but still better than the national average. But this better sex ratio also creates a number of problems for the rural areas itself. For example, if I look at the rural areas today, we are witnessing something which is known as feminization of agriculture. It witnesses something that is known as feminization of agriculture. Listen please. When you look at this feminization of agriculture, it means that today we have more number of females working in agriculture compared to the past. See, I'm not comparing females with males. I'm comparing the females today with the females that we had in the past. So compared to the past, today we have more number of females working in the field of agriculture. And that is also largely because of this migration, which is a sex and age selective process. Now, how is this feminization of agriculture a problem, if it is? Now, with this feminization of agriculture, productivity of agriculture is less. Now, why do we have low productivity? Because of this feminization of agriculture.
Because the women look at many of the work of the home.
Let's say that you have responsibility towards household as well. You cannot completely dedicate time to the field work. Okay. Listen, please. When you look at this feminization of agriculture, How is it is a problem? See, whenever you want to increase the production, whenever you want to increase the productivity, certain technological inputs are required. Okay? Just if you use better quality seeds, production may increase. Better quality fertilizers, production may increase. If you use some good quality machines, production can increase. Machines are considered to be one of those inputs that can increase the productivity and overall production by a good margin. But when you look at the machines in the country, machines are not designed for females. Understand what this meant by that? Machines are not designed for females. In agriculture sector, the work done by males and work done by females is segregated. There are certain works that are largely done by the male population. For example, if I go to a rural area, the most common machine that I can come across is a tractor. Okay? Tractor will be used for transportation of agriculture commodities. The engine of tractor can be used for pumping the water from the ground as well. Tractor can be used for seeding purposes. But the most important work of a tractor is plowing the field. And due to cultural reasons that we have in most parts of the country, females never plow the field. Females are not allowed to plow the field in most parts of the country. It is a work done by the males. And for a work that is done by the males, there is a machine which is very common known as a tractor. Now look at a work that is largely done by the females. Let's say plucking of tea leaves in the tea gardens. A work that is largely done by the females. Do we have a machine for this kind of work? No. Or is it too difficult work for which the machines cannot be designed? No. The reason is machines will be designed for only those people who have purchasing power. And whether it is India or it is the world, purchasing power lies in the hands of the males. So when half of the work is done by the females, for which you don't design the machines, how will the overall productivity of agriculture in the country increases? There would have been a time when females were not working in the fields. But today, when significant part of your workforce, almost 50% is males or is females, then you need to design the machines if you want to increase the productivity. Other concern? See, whatever the directive principles say, it is a reality in the rural areas, if you have been to, that for the same work, females are not paid the same wages as their male counterparts. They are always paid less. Third problem is, when you look at the share of females in the agriculture workforce, females, they make more than 46-47% of the workforce. More than 46-47% of people who are working in agriculture, they are females. But when it comes to ownership over land, just 12.8% of the land titles according to Agriculture Census 2018 are in the name of females. In terms of the share in workforce, almost 50%. But share in the ownership over land, just 13%. That means most of the women who are entering into the field are not entering as cultivators but landless agriculture workers. And this too creates a number of other issues. Listen carefully. Suppose I am practicing agriculture in my village along with my wife. Suppose we are not able to earn enough. What happens is, I think of moving to an urban center where I can work as a manual labor. My wife stays back in the village and she would like to cultivate the crops. But for cultivation of crops, she would need certain inputs. She would require some fertilizers, she would require some pesticides, she would require some seeds, and to purchase these inputs, she would require some credit facilities. Now there are two options of getting the credit. First option is, you can go to a formal agency like a bank. आप शेड्यूल कमर्शियल बैंक पे चले जाओ और रीजनल रूरल बैंक में और कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटीज और बैंक्स, they will provide you with the credit. Now, but most of the banks, they will demand a collateral. That is, what do you have to give as a collateral? And the land is not in my wife's name, it is in my name, and she has no collateral to give. But government says for loans of less than 1 lakh rupees, no collateral is required. Banks will give you the loans without any collateral as well. But the problem is that today the banks in the country, they are not keen on lending to the farmers. They don't want to give the loans to the farmers, and the basic reason for this has been the populist policies of the government. Today a trend has developed in the country where farmers who even have the paying capacity, they don't repay their loans. Suppose I am a farmer who takes a loan of 1 lakh rupees. A friend of mine also takes a loan of the same 1 lakh rupees. Both of us, we have the paying capacity. What is going to happen is, in 6 months of time, I have paid 50% of my loan amount. Suppose 1 lakh ka loan liya tha, 50%, 50,000 I have repaid. My friend, despite having the paying capacity, he deliberately defaulted on his payments. He paid nothing. despite having the paying capacity. Now, after 6 months of time, what happens is government announces farm loan waiver. Government says loans of up to 1 lakh rupees will be waived off. If loan is waived off, can I say I've already paid 50,000? Then in that case, my 50,000 is waived off. But this man who has not paid anything, his entire amount of 1 lakh has been waived off. So it is a disincentive to the person who has actually paid the loan on time. So next year what is going to happen is, before elections, I will also take a loan. I will take a loan of higher amount as much as possible, and I will also deliberately default on my payments. And as a result, what is going to happen is, I am anticipating that the government will announce this farm loan waiver, which is going to save all this amount for me. So trend has developed where the farmers are deliberately defaulting on the payments, and before every election, be it for the general legislative assemblies or be it general elections, it is the farm loan waiver that is the demand of the farmers. And the argument given is, when you have allowed so many rich people to leave the country without paying the loans, what is the problem with waiving of the loans of the farmers? So point is, banks today are not very keen on lending to the farmers. So if she cannot get the loan from the institutional agency, she is going to go to the Aratiya or the middleman in the mandi, or she is going to go to village saukars. These people will provide you collateral-free loans, but they will charge a high rate of interest. It can be anything between 24% per annum to 60% per annum. Okay, this is the rate of interest that they are paying. If suppose she takes a loan at 36% per annum, now she's cultivating the crop, but we are totally dependent on the rainfall. And what if the monsoon fails? The crops will fail too. What if the monsoon fails for 2 consecutive years? Just 2014, 2015, these 2 years were drought years in the country. If that happens, then what is going to happen to that interest payment? It is going to accumulate, and it will be much more than the principal amount. Now, a time comes when it is beyond the capacity of the family to repay. And as a result, what happens is, now the farmer may take extreme steps like committing suicide. So farmer suicide is a very serious concern that we have in the country, a major social problem, which is very often not even considered as a problem by many of the urban dwellers. National Crime Records Bureau, in 2005, it came up with a report and said between 1995 and 2015, more than 3 lakh farmers in the country, they committed suicide. More than 3 lakh farmers committed suicide between this time period. That means 12,000 farmers committing suicide every year. Now, when this report came, there was so much of heated debate in the parliament that NCRB did not publish the data on farmer suicide for the next few years. 2018, that no data was published. Then the data was published in 2019. 2022, it says that more than 11,000 farmers, they have committed suicide. That means the cultivators plus the landless agriculture workers. One year. This one, 11,000 farmers. So more than 11,000 farmers have committed suicide in the year 2022 alone. That means 30 farmers, almost 29 farmers committing suicide every single day. Now, when you look at this problem, this as a problem is not limited to only the underdeveloped states of the country. Even the states which are very well developed, those are also the states which are considered very notorious for the farmer suicide. Suppose I start ranking the states in terms of its per capita income. You'll find that there is a very high per capita income with the state of Maharashtra. But Maharashtra is also the state which is most notorious for farmer suicides. The area that we just mentioned, Vidarbha region, Marathwada region, these two areas are the ones where we see maximum of the farmer suicides, and Maharashtra alone accounts for almost 40% of the total farmer suicides that we have in the country. These are the areas where rainfall is less, and areas with less rainfall are also the areas where there are greater chance of monsoon failure. So problem is that when you look at even the better developed states like Maharashtra, they still have these kind of problems. Or for example, I'll tell you a case before we end the class. When you look at the state of Tamil Nadu, Tamil Nadu is a state that does not receive the rainfall largely from the southwest monsoon. This all areas they will receive rainfall in the months of June, July, August, September. Tamil Nadu में maximum of the rainfall is in the months of October, November, December. 15th October से लेके 31st December तक rainfall है, and these are the 2.5 months where maximum rainfall is received. Now 2016 was the year of normal monsoon in the country, where rainfall was normal and we had a good production. But 2016 was also the year when we had worst droughts of century in Tamil Nadu. That means 2016 mein, there was a deficit of 65%. That means if 100 centimeters is the average rainfall, that year rainfall was just 35 centimeters. So 65% ka deficit tha. And if you look at the southeastern part of Tamil Nadu, the southeastern part is a dry, less irrigated area. So that area we witnessed a good number of crop failure instances. A lot of farmers committed suicide. And then what happened was very tragic. What followed this was very tragic. A number of farmers from Tamil Nadu, they came to Delhi and they started protesting. And these farmers had a very unique mode of protest. These half-clad farmers had dead rats in their mouths. With dead rats in their mouths, they started rolling in front of parliament. And they also carried with them the skeletal remains of fellow farmers who committed suicide in Tamil Nadu. This is the gravity of situation. A problem that is often not even acknowledged as a social problem in India. It's very difficult to practice agriculture. That is why people are leaving agriculture. So, number of social problems in India: farmer suicides, malnutrition, poverty, rural outmigration, slum development, squatters in urban areas. All of this is largely linked to the poor performance of agriculture. So, I guess it is clear to everyone. We'll continue with this topic in the next lecture as well. We'll discuss how agriculture influences the overall climate. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.